In IELTS writing task 2, people lose time not because their English is weak, but because they waste it right at the start. If your introduction paragraph takes more than 2 minutes to write, you're in trouble. Because the introduction isn't where you win any points, it's where you avoid losing them. Also losing time, losing clarity. So in this video, I'm going to teach you my 3-step introduction formula. Simple and repeatable, which works on any task 2. And I'll keep it real. 3 sentences, 40 to 60 words, and that's the target. I'll show you one example that I wrote, then we'll write 1 or 2 introductions together. So you fully understand how a perfect introduction is actually written. My name's Ethan. Grab a pen and paper and let's start. Let me show you how to write a strong task 2 introduction using my 3-step formula. Context, task, position. That's it. 3 sentences, 1 paragraph, and 40 to 60 words. Now, let's do it with this question. Governments should spend money on railways rather than roads. To what extent do you agree or disagree? The first step is context. I write one general sentence and keep it broad, but clearly connected to the topic. This sentence has one job: introduce the topic. The context sentence that I wrote for this task is public transport and road networks both require major government investment. This sentence tells the examiner what the essay is about. It's simple and clear. And step 2 is called task. Here I write one sentence that paraphrases the main idea in the task. This sentence shows I understood the task and it prepares the reader for the next sentence. The sentence I wrote is, some people argue that funding should prioritize rail infrastructure instead of building and maintaining roads. The next step is position. Here I write my position, my opinion. It's the third sentence and the final one. For agree-disagree tasks, your position must be clear. You choose one side, agree, disagree, or you partly agree. My position sentence for this task is, I partly agree because rail can reduce congestion and pollution, but roads remain essential for local travel and goods transport. Now here's the complete introduction. Public transport and road networks both require major government investment. Some people argue that funding should prioritize rail infrastructure instead of building and maintaining roads. I partly agree because rail can reduce congestion and pollution, but roads remain essential for local travel and goods transport. My introduction has 3 sentences and 45 words. It's perfect for our essay. So here is what I did. 1 sentence, general topic. 1 sentence, paraphrase the claim in the task, and 1 sentence, my opinion. This is a fabulous template. With a little tweaking, you can write almost any task 2 introduction using this system. Pay attention to the fact that in this task, there was only 1 sentence with 2 bits of information, which I broke into 2 sentences. The first one is railway and road both need government investment. That was the first bit of information. And the second one, railway should be prioritized over road. I could have chosen to write these 2 bits of information into 1 sentence instead of 2, and that would be completely all right. However, at this point, I want you to learn my 3-step formula perfectly because it works with any question type. Then, once you've mastered it, you can play with it and write 2 sentences instead of 3 if you want. Now let's look at another question. This time, a different type. It's a two-way discussion. Many people feel more comfortable around friends who think like them. Others argue that it is valuable to have friends who challenge you and don't always agree. Discuss both views and give your opinion. Now you can put the video on pause and write your own context sentence. All right, this is what I wrote. Choosing the right friends can have a strong influence on how people think and live. Now let's pause again and write your own second sentence, which paraphrases the task. This is a sentence that I wrote. Some argue that it is best to spend time with friends who share the same opinions, while others believe friendships are more valuable when people can sometimes disagree. Now, pause again, write your opinion or your position, and then come back and compare it with mine. All right, this is what I wrote. In my view, although like minded friends can be comforting, having friends who challenge you occasionally is more beneficial in the long run. And the complete introduction I wrote is choosing the right friends can have a strong influence on how people think and live. Some argue that it is best to spend time with friends who share the same opinions, while others believe friendships are more valuable when people can sometimes disagree. In my view, although like minded friends can be comforting, having friends who challenge you occasionally is more beneficial in the long run. Many years ago, when I was learning this system for the first time, I had no problem with three question types: agree, disagree, two sided discussion, and advantages, disadvantages. These types work really well with this system of context, task, position. But whenever I got to two question tasks, I would freeze and couldn't write the position sentence. Why? Because in two question tasks, you're not always asked for a clear yes no opinion. Sometimes you must explain reasons, sometimes you describe problems, sometimes you suggest solutions, and those tasks do not require a strong personal opinion mentioned. So here is the fix. In two question tasks, your third sentence doesn't have to be an opinion. Your position sentence can be a roadmap, which is a simple plan that tells the examiner what your essay will cover. For example, your third sentence can start like this: this essay will explain the main causes of this issue and suggest practical ways to address it. That's it. You still follow context, task, position, but your position becomes your plan, and you never get stuck this way. By the way, if you're not 100% clear on what a position is in task 2, watch my video on that. Now let's look at a two question task. Some people believe that having a high income is the key to a happy life. In what ways can money contribute to happiness? What other factors can also lead to happiness? Pause the video, write a context sentence, then come back and compare it with what I wrote. All right, this is what I wrote. Happiness is a common goal, but people often disagree about what truly creates it. That was my context sentence. Now you pause the video, write your task sentence. Here is what I wrote. Some people believe that money is the main source of happiness because it can improve comfort and security. Pause and write your roadmap sentence. This essay will explain how wealth can increase happiness in certain ways and then discuss other important sources of happiness, such as relationships, health, and a sense of purpose. The complete introduction is: happiness is a common goal, but people often disagree about what truly creates it. Some people believe that money is the main source of happiness because it can improve comfort and security. This essay will explain how wealth can increase happiness in certain ways and then discuss other important sources of happiness, such as relationships, health, and a sense of purpose. So, a quick recap: as soon as you start your task 2, You read the task and write 3 sentences. The context sentence, where you introduce the topic. The task sentence, where you paraphrase the main idea of the task. And the position sentence, you give your answer or you give your roadmap. 3 sentences, 1 paragraph, 40 to 60 words. Do that, and your introduction stops being a problem and starts being automatic. If you find value in this lesson, hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in another video. Good luck.